Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today we are going to do something a little different and a lot of fun. We are going to practice English by just listening. You don't need to look at any grammar rules or study difficult books today. All you need to do is relax, sit back, and listen to me talk. I want to tell you a story about my life. A few years ago, I moved to a brand new big city. I did not know anyone, and everything was completely new to me. Because I was new, I had to ask for help all the time. It was a bit scary at first, but it helped me learn so much. As you listen to my story today, pay close attention to how I ask people for help and how I ask questions when I am lost or confused. When I first arrived in the city, I felt completely lost. The buildings were so tall and the streets were crowded with people rushing everywhere. On my very first morning, I decided to walk to a famous area called High Street. I wanted to see the shops and get a feel for the city. But guess what? I forgot my map, and my phone battery died. I was standing on a busy corner, looking around, feeling very confused. I saw a kind-looking woman walking toward me. I took a deep breath, smiled, and said, "Excuse me, I'm looking for the High Street." She stopped, smiled back, and pointed down the road. She told me it was just 2 blocks away. I felt so relieved. It was my very first conversation in the city, and it went so well. After walking for a bit, I finally found High Street. It was beautiful, but my legs were getting tired from all the walking. I saw a lovely little park with green grass and benches. I wanted to sit down and rest for a few minutes. Most of the benches were full, but I saw one bench with only one person sitting on it. I walked over, looked at the empty space next to them, and asked, "Excuse me, is this seat free?" The person looked up, smiled, and said, "Yes, of course, please sit down." I looked over at the person next to me. They were holding a big, colorful newspaper and reading the news. I love reading local news to see what is happening in the town. They finished reading the main page and set it down on the bench between us. I wanted to see the local events page, so I politely turned to them and asked, "Can you pass me the newspaper, please?" They handed it to me with a kind smile and said, "Sure, go ahead." While I was looking at the paper, I realized I didn't know what time it was because my phone was still dead. I didn't want to be late for my afternoon plans. So I looked at a man walking past my bench and said, "Excuse me, do you have the time?" He looked down at his watch and told me it was exactly 12 o'clock noon. I thanked him, folded the newspaper, and realized it was time for me to find some lunch. Now that it was noon, my stomach started to rumble. I was getting very hungry. Before I left my house, a friend told me about a wonderful place to eat in this area. It was a famous spot with great food. The food smelled amazing, and I had a wonderful lunch. After lunch, I realized I needed to buy a few things for my new apartment. I needed milk, bread, and some fruit. I didn't see any food stores on this main road. I saw a woman walking her dog, so I stopped and asked her, "Excuse me, is there a supermarket near here?" She told me there was a big one just down the street, right past the big clock tower. As I walked toward the supermarket, I started thinking about my new life in this city. I was actually here for a new job, which was starting the next day. I felt a little nervous about it. A man stopped me to ask for directions. He looked a bit lost too. He looked at me and asked, "Do you know where the police station is?" I actually knew the answer because I passed it on my bus ride into the city. I pointed back toward the park and told him it was right across the street from the park gates. He was so happy, and it made me feel good that I could help someone else, even though I was new to the city myself. Finally, I reached the supermarket. I bought my milk, my bread, and a lot of fresh fruit. But I made a mistake. I bought too many things. When I walked out of the store, my shopping bag was incredibly heavy, and the handles were hurting my hands. I was walking very slowly. A kind teenager saw me struggling. Before I could even ask, he stopped. But to be polite, I looked at him and said, "Could you help me with my bag, please?" He said, "Of course," and carried the heavy bag all the way to my bus stop. People in this city were turning out to be so kind. The next morning was my very first day at my new job. I woke up early, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. I wanted to make sure I wasn't late. I walked to the bus stop, but I realized I forgot to check the bus schedule. I stood there waiting, hoping a bus would arrive soon. Another person was waiting at the stop with me. To make sure I hadn't missed the morning bus, I turned to her and asked, "What time is it, please?" She looked at her phone and told me it was 8 a.m. Perfect. The bus arrived just 2 minutes later. When I got on the bus, it was very quiet. Most people were reading or listening to music. I sat next to a very friendly-looking woman. We started talking about the city and how busy it is in the morning. She told me she rides the same bus every single day. I was curious about her routine, so I asked her, "When do you get up in the morning?" She laughed and told me she gets up at 5:30 a.m. every day just to get ready and catch the bus. That felt so early to me. As the bus kept moving, we kept talking. She asked me about my new job, and I told her I was starting today. Before we reached the city center, the bus driver announced that there was a small delay on the main road. I looked out the window and noticed a large, beautiful stone building with big pillars. It looked like an important street, but I wasn't sure if it had everything a person might need. I turned back to my new friend on the bus and asked, "Do you know if there is a bank on this street?" She looked out the window with me and told me that yes, there are actually 2 banks right around the corner from that big building. Finally, the bus arrived at my stop. I said goodbye to my new friend and walked into my new office building. My first day at work was absolutely wonderful. Everyone was so welcoming and helpful. They showed me around the office, helped me set up my desk, and introduced me to the team. At afternoon break time, my new manager took me to the office kitchen to get a drink. She was making a hot drink for herself. She looked at the mugs and then looked at me. She wanted to know what I liked to drink, so she asked, "Which do you prefer, coffee or tea?" I smiled and told her I love a good cup of hot tea in the afternoon. We sat down, drank our tea, and talked about our favorite hobbies. By the end of the day, I wasn't feeling nervous anymore. I felt happy, comfortable, and ready for my new life. Moving to a new place can be difficult, and learning a new language can feel the exact same way. But what I learned from my experience is that you should never be afraid to ask for help. People are usually very happy to help you if you just ask them nicely. And just like my journey in the city, your journey with English takes time. But every single day you listen and practice, you get a little bit better. Thank you so much for sitting with me today and listening to my story. I hope this listening practice was helpful for you. Before you go, I want to ask you a question. You can type your answer in the comments below to practice your English writing. Tell me, which do you prefer, coffee or tea? And also, when do you get up in the morning? I really want to read your answers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who is also learning English. Thank you for watching. Keep practicing your listening, and I will see you in the next video.